All right, 29, let's get right into it. So we have for all real values of x, let f be the function defined by this whole mess on which the following intervals is f increasing, or on which of them is it increasing. Okay, so interesting problem here. The first thing that we want to do is figure out the interval on which f is increasing. So I want to figure out what those critical points are. And the way we do that is by, first of all, figuring out what is f prime of x. So I'll go ahead and take the derivative of both sides here. Now, thankfully, they give us kind of a nice integral in the sense that once we take the derivative, we just have to substitute in x. So let me go ahead and do that really quickly here. 0 to x, cosine 2 plus sine. Okay, so once I have this whole thing here, once I use that derivative operator, then I'll have f prime of x equals cosine to the 23rd x, and then 2 plus sine 23rd x. Okay, now that's just the kind of hand waving here, but that's basically the fundamental theorem of calculus that we can apply here. Okay, so now I got to figure out, okay, well, when is f prime of x equal to 0? And if I look at this entire expression here, I know that the only way this can go to 0 is if cosine of x goes to 0. And then it gets multiplied by all this, and then all that goes to 0, right? It can't be this part of the expression because there's that 2 here. So even if I get -1 for the sine, it'll never bring it down to 0. So anyway, okay. So with that in mind, I need to figure out, okay, cosine to the 23rd x, when does that equal 0? And hopefully you should know that the only time that cosine of x is going to equal to 0, it doesn't matter what power it's to, the only time it's going to be that is if I have some odd power n multiplied by pi over 2, and then similarly if I have, hang on, let me rewrite that here. So I'll say cosine to the 23rd x equals 0 if x equals some odd power n, or some odd value of n to the pi over 2, or if it is the positive half of that. So it could also be the positive half. Okay, so why does n have to be an odd integer? Well, it has to be an odd integer because if n was even, then I would start getting values of pi. And I can't have that because that's going to give me a cosine value of either 1 or -1. -1 for pi, and then obviously 1 for 2 pi. Okay, so it has to be, I guess what I should say is our critical points are these two values right here. Now, my question would then be, well, which direction do we have to go in? So if I draw my unit circle here, and let's say this is -pi/2, and then I have +pi/2 right here, I have to figure out what direction can I go in that always gives me a positive value of cosine. And the way that I do that is I have to go in this direction here, right? Now, if I get a positive value for f prime of x, then it follows that on that interval, it is increasing, right? So if I go from -pi/2 to pi/2, and these are all positive values of cosine for f prime of x, then it follows that f of x is increasing. So therefore, f of x is increasing on the interval -pi/2 to pi/2. And that is going to be answer choice B. All right, guys, so hopefully that made sense. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to comment below, and I'll see you in the next video.